Hello, how are we all? Oh, I was just healing myself, and while I was healing myself, I was thinking about the energetic body, and I remember years ago I began to be able to feel my extra arms. You have two extra arms, your spirit arms, like what is it? Is it the transcendent man? The drawing, oh geez, who done that drawing? Leonardo da Vinci, or I can't remember. But the drawing of the five, it's like in a 5-star pentagram too, isn't it? I don't like pentagrams so much, but I think it's called the Transcendent Man. And I guess I'll put a screenshot here and move on. Anyway, I was healing myself, and years ago I remember saying to myself while I was realizing it, I can heal myself with these spirit arms, so that actually I can have my physical arms by my side, and I can move around these other spirit arms, and they can still channel the energy, funnily enough, and I'm surprised about this. I remember I was surprised. And anyway, I was just doing that sort of thing, playing with the energy body, and I realized something pretty important. So I was just realizing that, for it to matter, you need to move your energy body there. It only matters when you bring your energy body. What do I mean? To any situation, you bring your energy body and you'll see, miraculous events and, miraculous occurrence, much more programmable results, out of a situation. You'll definitely control your speech more as well, and that's code control. But yeah, it's an interesting idea, because I realize it's true. If you face up to these organic portals and the hive mind while it's huzzing through them in a weak, energy bodiless state, they react totally differently. And you know how they're trying to put you in fear, because they're all Archon trained now. People talk about Archons, Archon spirits, and Archon invasion and all this. Well, they're all trained. They've been training everyone. I've been noticing this for a good year, that that's what's going on now massively. Like, any control structure anywhere in the world right now will be undergoing Archon training, wherein you have even young indigos of the tribe forfeiting because it's too difficult to do great work, and becoming stooges of the system and getting trained to be like an Archon, or being trained in archonic ways, which always has to do with a lot of exploitation. Archons love the exploitation, and they're always trying to exploit your energy, obviously, as well, with the loosh energy stealing. They love that. And, they love binding you into debt and slavery and whatever exploitation they can. like using information against you. They love that. They love to feel like that power, you know. They're sick on that power in a type of reptilian sickness way. It reminds me of like a Komodo dragon lizard licking its lips after tearing a man apart or something, you know? Fucking hell. These Archon spirits. Anyway, so there's a lot of training going on. And when you know, and so more and more people are, you know, because it's easier, are becoming, you know, allowing themselves to become more archonic. And what I realized is that that behavior is always the same. And so whether the person has the spirit of an Archon spirit coming through them or not, and they're just acting like a Archon infested organic portal because they've been trained, it doesn't matter, because it's always the same energy. And those sort of 3 things I mentioned back there are really good ways to start to see it. Exploitation, and it's all about energy, right? Energy stealing. So it can be money, because money is energy stored. It represents energy, you know. Anyway, I was realizing that when you know, approach these situations with full spirit force, you know, full force. I was thinking my old surfboard brand from Gold Coast was Full Force. It's my surfboard brand that I chose with Steve Barber there. And, you know, coming to these situations, you have to come like that, you know. Like when I ride a wave on a reef or something, or like down at Central Coast in Australia, where there's, I forgot the name of it, Banzai Pipe, that's it, the Banzai Pipe at Central Coast in Australia. Gnarly, because it's just a barrel, the wave is just a barrel, and if you don't make the drop, you get dropped on the rocks, and it's only about 2 meters away from the rocks, so you can end up really smashed about. Anyway, the point is, you know, you have to go through that barrel. It's the only way. You're not, you know, doing any carves on the face till the end of the wave. You have to drop straight into the barrel and then make the barrel, or not. And that's pretty much the wave. That's the entire wave at Banzai Pipe, Central Coast. And that was one good place where I learned this idea of, you know, you have to go full force in surfing. You have to take the drop without, you know, thinking too much about it. And it has to be a spirited action. And it's the same thing with these situations and conversations with Archon sort of spirits and that. They're always the same. Any weakness you show, and they jump. They jump on it. It's crazy. People want to talk about narcissism and all this. I think that's well beside the point, and well shallow, very shallow end of things to talk about narcissism. Very shallow. That's why there's a whole lot of women coming out talking about narcissism, yes, narcissism, that. Yeah, a lot of women whinging about it. Because it's a very shallow philosophy to whinge about narcissism. I tell you what, there's much greater things afoot. Get your head in the game. So anyway, when you approach these situations with full spirit force, I notice they completely go much more in your favor and completely different. It can be 100% difference, you know. Talking on a spectrum, it can go not good or it can go good. Let's just keep it newspeak. So, you know, when the situation goes good or not good, that's 100% difference, possibly. You know, either end of the spectrum. And so it can make all the difference, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, before I was just lying there and I was starting to trying to heal my nervous system with the Kundalini, and then often I'll move into Chi, because this is the natural progression, and end up in Prana hopefully, and all that. On the way, Reiki and Diksha, and then I end hopefully breathing Prana, because then you're touching your own, you're clearing your multi-dimensional body the full way then, and you're touching your own will force. And so anyone who's an exercise person, what they do is do this physically by crunching the thoughts off of the nervous system and out of the fascia. All the vibrations change because they push it out. I'm getting reps at the moment, doing a lot of exercise. And you get to a point of meditation, but I don't start that way. The first 10 reps usually hurt the most, because it's like, oh, this again, I've got hundreds and hundreds of reps to go, and like that compromised mind is on you again, the weakling mind, which is, more associated to the lower end of any of your thoughts, and associated with the monkey mind, which is a bit silly. But yeah, when you really move into your higher light body like this, you can feel it moving around outside of the boundary of your skin and your physical body. Outside, you feel this vibratorily, a piercing. I feel this thing moving around, I feel my light body moving around through structure and beyond structure. That's because I'm feeling beyond structure. I'm feeling in the higher intangible dimensions. I'm crossing the rainbow bridge, creating the higher mind into the quantum mind, and so on, up into the soul template, etc. So I just wanted to make a video on this, because it's just, we make a lot of I make a lot of videos on this channel, and, it's about spiritless humans. So if we're going to discuss spiritless humans, guys, we should talk about spirit and soul, There's no use just pointing the finger. What if we can ensoul people, or find a process of ensouling, Like, for instance, switching on your rainbow bridge between brain hemispheres, suspended magnetically, is, the entrance into the higher mind. It's called the Antakarana, or higher mind, but it's really the entrance into the higher mind. So I find that when we approach a situation with all of that switched on, all of our faculties, and being a full-spirited human, the outcomes are a lot different. And then, you can use organic portals much more and manipulate them in a unpsychopathic sort of manner. You're meant to if you're going to manipulate them, you're meant to be doing it in favor of God, your God's army, so to speak. I'm not religious, by the way. But you know what I mean, right? You're a because I say it on my channel over and over again. You should know what I mean. You're a forward vector, or a soul vector, positive souled human, I call it. And basically the universe is like coming through you, like as a vector, to create itself. You're either that, or the entropical field, or your atrophy. And I always talk about that as well, and organic portals are like atrophy, and entropical field as well a bit. But so if you understand entropy, the meaning I mean is like the field of choice. So anyway, and then you take a vector out of that. That's what the universe has to do, obviously. So anyway, when you approach these, situations, any situation, like a conversation is a situation, because, a situation or a community or a culture can only evolve as fast as it can communicate. So yeah, you can also take this idea to non-verbal staring at people. That works too. I can't remember the last time I looked away from someone in a stare competition. I always make sure to stare the longest, and I make sure they realize, because I'm never the one who is staring to begin with, demonically, you see. So I know I never have anything to fear in that situation, and it's always worked out, because I'll only do it, under the right circumstance, obviously. If they're staring at me when I look at them, that's the right circumstance. If they're staring, I said, not glancing or looking, but staring, and you can tell the demonic stare. Anyway, so when you face any of these situations, or just face another human being, let's call it that. But we're talking organic portals on my channel, So when we're facing, the hive mind, these archons and so on, I really think you need to, keep this in account, because it's changed, it's changed my life for sure. It's changed the way I view reality as well. And yeah, you start to see beyond the veil more, but I would encourage you to, work on your energy body, because from that, everything seems to stem. The thought comes before the physical manifestation, and, everything is energy, we say, at its base. You know what I mean? So it's pertinent to work on that part, because, that the way that the tunnel harmonics and cell communication occurs in your body, etc., 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 the way your chakras spin, are blocked or not blocked, etc. This all is very important for what happens in the end state, the macro physical body. And furthermore, out into the world in these situational contexts as well, because you're actually sending energy waves, especially when you're speaking. We know that, right? It's vibrations moving through the air, literally, And then we're talking about, telepathic communication as well. Anyway, so I encourage you to, learn these meditation techniques, and don't get stuck on one technique. Keep trying to find out new techniques of all the different energies, and no, chi is not prana. They're different things. Same with Reiki, Diksha, Mana. They're all different energies. They're actually all from different dimensional correlations as well, which you've heard nobody else ever say before, ever. I know, I checked. It's just come through me. Anyway, so work on your energy body, and amalgamate the knowledge I've said in this video, because it'll help you with the Archons and the organic portals and getting your energy stolen. And it's not just about getting your energy stolen, you feel that physically drained. It's about they're stealing your time by making you work for them and the system. That's why I always go on about matrix escape velocity. I have a whole video on it, and I'm heavily into my plants, because if you can grow your own food or find it, it's like printing your own money.